Institutional policies. Before we move on to a theoretical discussion, let's look at what has been or what have been in the institutional policies regarding the use of L1 or the first language in the learning of the second language. Now, I keep on using the word first language and second language. Let me remind you that over here, I mean by first language, I mean Urdu, and by second language, I mean English. And I'm talking about the Pakistani context now. Now, before this is the assumption. However, please remember that when we talk about the first language, it is a high probability that the students in your class have Urdu as a second language. First language is any language that is actually spoken at home and the child learns from home. Second language is any language that a child actually learns in formal situations or formal classrooms. Now, it is a possibility that a regional language like Sindhi, Pashto, or Punjabi is the first language of your child, and the second language is Urdu that the child learns in the classroom, and the third language is actually English. However, in this context, when I'm talking about first language and second language, I mean Urdu and English. So, more often than not, what we witness in the English classes at least, or in English medium private schools at least, is that there is a lot of emphasis to exclude learners' home language, whatever that home language might be, regional or Urdu itself, and it is emphasized that second language or in the English classrooms, no Urdu or no other language needs to be used. The intent of this exclusion. Why are these policies made? What is the intention of these policies? The intention of the school or the institution when it implements this policy is to give the learners a maximum input, in Krashen's word, or maximum exposure to English language, because it is understood that when they go out in their homes, they might or might not have that kind of exposure or learning opportunity to practice speaking in English and to hear the English language in the standard form. So we try to give them as much exposure or as much opportunities we can possibly provide them to both learn the language, listen to it, and then also use to it. Now, most of the researchers actually would like to say that this is correct, of course. We need to expose our children to the language that we are teaching them. Underlying this assumption, however, is the behaviorist approach. Remember the behaviorism that we read about before? Behaviorism would say any learning, including language learning, is like formation of a habit. And when you learn a habit and we want to learn another habit of second language, then the first habit of using Urdu, for instance, will interfere with the habit of newly formulated habit of using English. However, this is the concept that has been critiqued, because language learning is not just a habit formation, but however, if we say that we want to give increased input to the learners or increased exposure, we agree with it. It is understandable. However, the exclusion of L1, exclusion of Urdu from English language classrooms is still severely contested. And what does the research say about it? Well, The research has provided us with conflicting evidence. That means some research says it's useful, and in other contexts it says that it is not useful and it hinders the learning of the second language.